Butter on bread. It's comics and shots, completely improvised, semi-comedic music by Howard Stern's Mick the Nerd, aka YouTube and TikTok's Mick the Man, aka Mick the Maverick, aka a guy who's almost beaten hashtag blood, which I personally feel is overhated. It's okay, it's a Zelda, you know. Yeah. The selfie aspect gets a little overbearing, but yeah. Today's subject, the Grizzly, aka Max something. Max something. I literally read this comic today, and I can't remember his full name because you want to know what the Grizzly's whole thing is? He's a pro wrestler who Triple J, got fired from pro wrestling because he was too violent, legitimately violent. They even admit so in the book. It wasn't like JJJ was wrong for calling this guy out. No, he actually was a bad wrestler. And then the Jackal, this is when the Jackal was still a good villain with a terrible costume, hooked him up with a Grizzly suit that gave him super strength. And then Spider-Man beats him in the next issue. 2-issue plots were all the rage back then. Larger, overarching plot, but it was mostly 2-issue stories, and I love them. Yeah, and that probably should have been the end of the Grizzly. But from what I've read, there were at least 65 more appearances of the guy. Okay. I'd honestly rather see the Gibbon again. More of the Gibbon. Grizzly's cool and all, but, he seems like he has some good stories by different writers, but it's also he's a guy in a gorilla suit. A grizzly bear suit. Guy in a grizzly bear suit. He's the Grizzly. And that's it. He was just given a suit by a guy to murder a guy and beat up a bunch of other people, and that's the Grizzly. That's all he was supposed to be. And yeah, we keep bringing him back like we're gonna do something new. Also, weird thing, in his 2-issue stories, he has more of an origin story than Mac Gargan the Scorpion. Scorpion has at least 230 more appearances than him, and yet he still barely has any of an origin. What is going on? Marvel, hire me. I will write you a Mac Gargan origin story. Keep it, honestly, a loose story, maybe keep the mystery alive, but I can do it. Give me some time. Yeah. Ugh. Title of this episode will be The Grizzly and the Gargan, because this was just supposed to be a mocking of the Grizzly, but it's also just a commentary on heavy Spider-Man villains in general. The heavy, the obstacle. Scorpion and Grizzly, they were intended to be heavies, and that's it. They were given suits by science people to fight Spider-Man, and they were both based on animals. And that's a lot of Spider-Man's villains. Guys who are given suits by smart people to fight Spider-Man. And that's it. It's kind of a very recurring theme, and that has just happened throughout the entirety of the Spider-Man mythos in TV and movies and video games, yeah. And it's just gonna keep happening. I feel, if I were ever to rate Spider-Man, somehow I'd want to invert that. I don't know how, or maybe do it in a different way. Who am I kidding? I can probably just do the same thing. It's a good setup. I mean, I have a good idea for my main arch of one story. I ain't telling you though. Marvel, hire me for 12 issues. I got a story. But make ASM a frickin' monthly comic. This doesn't need to be, and none of those frickin' oversized issues. The next ASM's gonna be another oversized issue. God damn it, stop trying to squeeze as much money out of Spider-Man fans as you can. Ugh. Yeah. So yeah, in summation, Grizzly, one-shot villain who kept on coming back, but it has more of an origin story than Scorpion. One of the antithesis is to Spider-Man, essentially evil Spider-Man, yet barely has an origin himself. It's odd. Marvel, you're odd. Ugh. With that, like, comment, and subscribe. Donate if you're feeling nice. Share it with a bear. And always remember, praise be to the Blood Elk, fear the Stabopotamus, and death to Kronos. Yeah. Peanutty. Have a night, folks.